back to the Race Car and Chill YouTube channel. It's been well over a year, probably closer to a year and a half since I pulled the motor out of the turbo car. I kind of stopped making videos. See, what happened was, your boy realized I needed to prioritize. So building a race car was not necessarily the best plan for that time of my life. But anyway, long story short, I had to kind of put the car thing on hold. I stacked up some cash, bought a house, and now I can welcome you guys to the Race Car and Chill YouTube garage. Check it out. So bought a house with a 2-car garage. It's definitely an oversized 2-car garage though. I've got storage on both sides. Here, there, extended in the back. There's like a workbench area too. I was fortunate enough to inherit a powder coating oven from my buddy Cody. So shout out to Cody. He also gave me an air conditioning machine for vehicles. So dude, this garage is so sick. I love the garage so much. It goes into the backyard here, and obviously I'm a big time plant guy, but the highlight here is this big industrial sized swamp cooler. Summertime in Arizona, it's like 115 degrees most of the summer, so that really makes it comfortable in this garage. I literally it's on casters, so I just swing it over to this door and it blows inside the garage and cools the garage like 15-20 degrees. It's amazing. You'll see I've got some parts stacked up. I'm actually getting ready to do a manual swap on this bad boy right here, and I am recording it step 1 to finish. I'm gonna finally get that video made for you guys. I've swapped like 4 or 5 IS300s at this point, and every time I mess up making a video. So this time I'm gonna take my time doing it because I can take the car apart, close the garage, and call it a day. Here's the turbo car. This is what we need to talk about. Tacoma daily. I still got the Prius. It's parked on the side of the house. I don't ever drive it. So I still got, you know, 2 IS300s and 2 dailies, I guess. Here is the turbo car. Last time the channel saw this car, a couple buddies and I pulled the motor and kind of left it at that. There's a lot of work that needs to happen here. So I'm making a video kind of just to update the channel, show you guys where we're at, what you can expect. I really want to get back into this making a video thing and, you know, getting some progress made on these cars, because realistically I like to drive cars, man. I don't like to work on them nearly as much. I'm not a mechanic. I've got a full-time day job, has nothing to do with the automotive industry, so I'm just a hobbyist doing my best out here. Where do we start? I guess in the engine bay for the most part. It's gonna stay pretty similar. Here's my ABS relocation. I do think I want to, you can see the wires I'm sorry, the brake lines are ran through this way. I kind of want to bring these lines down a little bit and hide them a little bit better. We'll see how close that sits to the turbo when the time comes. But the biggest change that's going to happen in the bay is going to be the wiring stuff. So look at what we got here. These wires all go to the AEM Infinity that sits under the driver's seat, and the original installer of this basically tapped into the stock wiring harness. Here's the thing, this works. I just don't know what is going on. There's a lot of wiring splices, the wires change colors, and I didn't build it. The person who did knows what they're doing, but the issue is I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know where to start with the wiring. I've always had little gremlins here and there. The car has been somewhat reliable, but it's never been 100%. So the ultimate goal after doing all of this is to have a car that just drives, that just works. I can just, you know, I want it to be dailyable. I'm probably not going to daily it, but I want to be able to have a fun street car making 500 horsepower to the wheels on pump gas. And I want to be able to take it to the track whenever I want without really any serious prep. So it just needs to be bulletproof. So that's kind of the ultimate goal of putting this whole thing back together. To address the wiring, this is a 2001, so it's a little bit different than all the rest of the years as far as the wiring goes. So I'm just going to, I have a couple different options, and I'm still not 100% set in stone on one decision, but I'm like 80%. I'm gonna pull all this stuff out. I'm gonna pull out the stock factory harness, which means the dash has to come out. It's gonna be a whole big ordeal, but I was able to find a 2001 unmolested stock harness. So I'm gonna pull out all the modified stuff. I'm gonna put a new harness in it. I'm sorry, new to the car. It's just a stock IS300 harness, and I'm just gonna pay someone to make a harness for me because I don't have the time or the know-how or the skill to do it. And knowing me, I'm gonna spend 200 hours building a harness and then it's still not gonna work right, and I'm gonna spend another 200 hours troubleshooting it. So to avoid all that headache, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I know I'm not a wiring guy, so I'm just gonna pay somebody else to do it. There's a couple different options there. I'm probably just gonna buy a pre-built one and, you know, have some modifications done to it, but there's a couple different companies that make plug and play harnesses for the AEM Infinity, which wasn't really an option back in the day when this car was built for the first time. So we're gonna use the technology and like the aftermarket to help us put this car together. I've also really contemplated the idea of getting rid of the Infinity. I have it sitting in the garage here on the shelf. Nothing wrong with it. I don't know how to use it. That's really the only thing wrong with it. So it's all my fault. But there's other options to where if I could get rid of that Infinity and I could buy a plug and play, the Link is really appealing to me, because again, it's just plug and play and it uses all the stock stuff, which I kind of really like that. But yeah, again, I haven't really made that decision just yet. I'm leaning towards making the Infinity work. I don't really want to have to pay for a whole new tune. I'm still gonna have to get it retuned because the car's changing so much, but I don't think I'll need a whole full tune. You know, anyway, it just gets complicated. Let me kind of show you what I got here. This is the motor out of the turbo car. It's been sitting for a while, obviously. It needs valve stem seals for sure, at the bare minimum. This also makes me nervous. This was a Gates blue racing belt, and it's not very blue at all anymore, as you can tell. This was your boy trying to teach himself how to powder coat things. That was probably one of the first things I ever powder coated. So I'm gonna tear all this stuff apart, make it nice, put a new timing kit in it, valve stem seals, you know, all the front seals. I'm gonna rewrap the manifold with exhaust wrap. This one's kind of just old and tired, it's falling apart. Need to get a new turbo blanket. I need to get a bunch of small stuff. Gonna replace a bunch of sensors here and there, but for the most part, not a lot of changes. I'm gonna reroute this fuel feed that goes to the turbo, try to kind of tuck it behind the motor, make it a little cleaner. There's a stud that's broken that holds this last coil pack on that I need to extract out of the head and replace. A bunch of small odds and ends, a couple new sensors, oil pressure, oil temperature that I want to plumb into the AEM so it can have those things and I can set up fail safes for track days. There's going to be an oil filter relocation kit, which is also going to be thermostatically routed through a cooler. It's going to need new engine mounts, probably a trans mount. The AR5 is sitting down here under the motor. There's where the intercooler condenser is. Radiator's over there in the corner. I did break the radiator. Actually, I broke a radiator doing a different job on another car, but I donated my radiator to that, so I'm gonna need a new one. Probably gonna go with the Koyo 3 pass, the new one that just came out. This is a stock GE. It's actually not mine. This is a buddy of mine's. This is the drivetrain, automatic trans and high mileage GE. I believe it's got like 220,000 miles on it roughly. This all came out of the Lemons car. I got rid of the Lemons car when I moved into the house. I didn't necessarily want it to be parked in my driveway, and I didn't really want to put it in the backyard because I kind of got a cool backyard and I don't want it to turn into a junkyard. So I got rid of the Lemons car. I did take like most of it. I scrapped the shell. I got both subframes. They're here in storage, which is really cool. Like complete subframes. I've been pulling parts off of them as people need them. Got the rear and the front subframe, steering rack and all the control arms, and then I got like this is all just full of parts down here, you know, more boxes of parts and whatnot. So I've been stacking parts. Like I said, took a step away from working on cars, but always had the intention of coming back to it. So that's why I've been stacking parts as, you know, good deals come up. And ironically, one of the best deals I came up on was a manual swap. This is a W55 that I'm going to be putting into my old daily. I've had this car probably 12 years or so, give or take, and it's completely stock. It used to be pretty modified. I've put all those mods back onto the turbo car, and now it's been completely stock for many years. I don't drive it. It's literally not even registered or insured. It just sits. I'm a little sentimental about it, but now the way values are going up, I might swap it and sell it. I'm not sure just yet what I'm doing with it, but I did get a manual swap for it, so I want to make that video for you guys. Like I said, I've swapped a handful of cars and never really made the video, so now we're gonna do it. I'll link to the video, the manual swap video, down in the description of this video once I have it up. That way, like I'm gonna give you guys a parts list, kind of show you everything that goes into the manual swap and how I'm doing it. It's really difficult to make a one-stop shop manual swap video just because there's so many different ways to swap a car. It's pretty much custom every single time you do it. That's what we're starting today, but I wanted to make a video just catching the channel back up to speed with where I stand. I haven't driven a fun car in so long, man. I really miss turbo noises and all that kind of stuff, so that's really the ultimate goal of putting the turbo car back together. I am gonna need a custom drive shaft and all sorts of stuff. I think I'll make a separate video once I start putting the turbo car back together, kind of just talking about exactly what's going on. Here's some more of the parts for the turbo car, the clutch, flywheels, all there, wiring harness, unmolested stock harness, intake manifold, yada, yada, yada. We'll go over all that stuff in a separate video once that car starts getting put back together, but just wanted to let you guys know I'm not dead. I really, really appreciate, like over the last year plus, I've just had random people hit me up on like the Instagram, the Race Car and Chill Instagram, or even my personal Instagram, and kind of still made some friends even though I'm not making videos, which has been super cool. Met quite a few cool people. Met one guy that actually has one of the OG SRT built IS300s, which if you don't know SRT, they used to be like the first shop that made turbo kits for the IS way back in like 2008 when the car was still pretty new. So that car is local to me, lives down the street like 4 or 5 miles. So we'll make that car will make an appearance on the channel for sure. And then a buddy of mine, Eric, who has a manual swapped Sport Cross. We manual swapped it many years ago, but he bought another wrecked Sport Cross that he's going to use as a project, and that's going to be a really cool project. We're going to document the whole thing here. It's going to be wild. Nothing like it exists as far as we know, so we're going to hopefully be the first in the world to do what we're doing with that Sport Cross. It's going to be sick. I'm very excited about that. That project will get going here in the next couple months as well. So we got projects lined up, man, between this manual swap and, you know, slapping the turbo car together, and then a couple other side quests that we got planned. Race Car and Chill's back, baby. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can keep up on all the things we're gonna be doing. I don't like to make videos like this that are just talking. I mostly like to show things what I'm doing and kind of like explain why and how I'm doing things, but I feel like there's a handful of you guys that like follow me, so I wanted to make an update on like where we're at. So this is where it's at, boys. We'll see you on the next video.